Path of Exile 2 has been out for a week now, and the community has been giving constant feedback. I'm on the Reddit threads all the time, just reading and seeing what people are saying. And there's a thread today which the majority of the community agrees with, and I just wanted to read it out and see what your thoughts are, and we'll just go from there. So the thread is called "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly After a Week of Playing." So I'll just start. For context, I've been playing PoE 1 since open beta, have 15k hours and play a few characters to 100 every league. Played quite a bit of Last Epoch since they officially released. Also played a lot of D3 in the past and gave D4 a good few weeks on release, and tried the expansion also. I'm a pretty no-lifer ARPG player and pretty much only play hardcore, so I can appreciate that how I feel probably won't reflect the opinions of more casual players. Here's my feedback on PoE 2 after playing for just over a week so far. I've not played maps a ton because it's extremely easy to die in this game compared to PoE 1, so most of this is campaign/leveling related. So we've got things I liked. The bosses are on a whole pretty awesome and feel quite fair, aside for some buggy name lock stuff and a few abilities here and there that need better telegraphing. Being able to pause the game. The graphic fidelity is a significant upgrade from PoE 1. Sound design is on point, especially abilities like Ice Strike and Sunder feel super punchy. I really love the way they handle ice in this game, it is really good. Just one life and one mana pot actually works pretty well. Spirit feels, although I wish I had a speed potion, can't lie. Anyway, Spirit feels like a better solution than reserving mana for auras, but it needs some serious balancing and a bunch more options added. SRS being only 30 Spirit is crazy compared to the cost of other minions. No more portal scrolls. I like Act 1 quite a lot. I think it's easy to tell that it has had significantly more time put into it than the other acts. And then we've got a big long list of things I disliked. As a hardcore player, the length of the campaign is brutal. I'm much quicker now, I've done it a fair bit, but even with stuff in my stash and knowing what to do, it can still take 12 plus hours to get through it. In PoE 1, I can do League start campaign to maps in half that time, even faster with leveling gear, and get to the fun bit, the end game. Significantly faster, and the pace of how much stronger your character gets is far more enjoyable in PoE 1. Then we've got the level gating on some skills is very high considering how long you have to play to get there. The level 52 stuff you don't get until Act 2 Cruel, would prefer that to be like end of Act 2/start of Act 3 at the latest. Why is the well in town even a thing? Well. The loop of hooded one to mass ID to maybe use a few currency items on stuff, run to vendor to disenchant a bunch of stuff, run to anvil to break down some socket/quality stuff gets old pretty fast. Can we not just do this all at one vendor/interface? But half of my time is teleporting out of the game back to town to sell all my crap. Like I've literally I've stopped doing that now, and now I'm being more picky with my loot. But when I'm like 10-20 hours in and I've been picking up everything and selling it, and do you know what I mean? I've just stopped doing that now. Not being able to replace runes feels bad when resistances are so hard to come by and we have no crafting bench. I agree. The amount of chaos damage in the game and the tuning of it is crazy compared to the availability of chaos res. I've heard a lot of complaints about that. Defenses feel super janky at the moment. Energy shield is very overtuned. Block plus evasion feel good, and armor feels useless. A lot of people are saying this. The passive tree on the whole is pretty boring. Vast majority of nodes are minor percentage increases, and most notables are just a little bit bigger versions of those. There are also so many boring kiss/curse nodes. No, I don't want reduced attack speed or movement speed. Why are they on there for such uninteresting things that don't change how you play your character? Agree. Not a fan of the dodge roll personally. Crafting is just pure RNG fest. Click orbs and either make something good or vendor it. Having to pick up a silly amount of bases to trans plus org, I would much rather just have alterations back. The agency you have over defense is so crazily dictated by gear because there is no life or any real amount of resistance you can click on the passive skill tree if you need them, and all the other defensive stuff are things that scale with your gear, armor, energy shield, evasion, apart from a handful of nodes. The vast majority of uniques are not interesting. No way to select a specific level of gem. The whole gem system needs some more iteration, IMO. Feels really bad when attribute requirements are so wild right now. Because of a combination of attribute requirements of gems/kills and the amount you have to travel on the tree, it feels like the game really shoehorns you into playing very specific archetypes, e.g. energy shield or mana-based caster, armor-based mace skills, energy shield plus evasion monk, evasion with bows, etc. Overall, I feel like the build making is very much on rails. It feels like GGG curated some skill combos for whatever you are playing, and you kind of have to use those, or your build feels like and you don't really get that much say in your defense options either because of attributes. PoE 1 feels like the complete opposite of this to me outside of spell suppression. The length of some zones in the campaign, especially Acts 2 and 3 and some maps, is actually obscene. I agree. When you take into account how much you have to backtrack with very limited movement speed and skills, I can't believe the lack of mobility. Like, I was buzzing for zooming all over the map in this game, and it really has not delivered on that. Ascending is terribly balanced right now. I don't mind the first couple of sanctums, but beyond that, my god, it's horrible. Spells being implicit on caster weapons is very strange. I'd rather see something like +2 gem levels as implicits instead, and that stat being removed from the mod pool. On the subject of plus gem levels, the exponential mana scaling of skills versus levels feels overly punishing. The Exalt and Regal Omens seem pretty pointless. Why do you care about which side of an item you add mods to when there is no Harvest Reforge or meta mods? All you are going to do is Exalt slam it to 6 mods anyway, if it has a chance of being good. This version of strongboxes isn't it, just put the PoE 1 version of them in. Ground degens, but Burning Ground in particular, are crazy overtuned. Warrior feels horrible to play, especially early on, not sure why everything has to have massive attack speed penalties and added attack times. I thought, as I played this game, my character would get faster and everything would just speed up, but it really isn't. But I'm not that far in, but the fact that endgame players are saying everything feels slow, it doesn't make me feel that good, do you know what I mean? Monk's early skills are very bad, particularly on bosses. When the game gives you a quarterstaff and pushes you into using those skills, and Act 1 is a huge struggle until you kill Executioner and get some actually decent skills, then it needs a revisit. Grabbing a bow and using Lightning Arrow for the first 14 levels is a vastly superior early game experience. I was literally going to mention this bow thing, like, I've been watching the guides and the Ice Monk looks insane, but the guy was saying the first 14 levels, like, you might as well just use a bow, and it's like, well, that's not... When I think of Monk, I don't think of living the bow fantasy, but whatever. Minions despawning when you outrange them instead of snapping to you when Convocate doesn't even exist made me just not want to play that character anymore. And then there's another section at the end saying things I would like to see added. A very limited crafting bench to ease the massive pain of defences and resistances being completely based on your gear, i.e. just resistance suffixes and defence prefixes, more targeted crafting like essences, lab as an option to ascend, masteries on the skill tree, more interesting keystones and notables, skills that aren't locked behind specific weapons to make build making more interesting, a boss in every map. This whole kill all the rare D4-esque nightmare dungeon thing feels bad, and bosses are one of the highlights of the game for me. A slider to change the see-throughness of my spell effects when you need to see stuff to dodge, or you get one shot. It's extremely hard with some of the visual clutter, sometimes from skills like Flame Wall, blah blah blah. Yes, the opacity, the see-throughness of things. Especially, like, people are dying to ground effects, and you can't even see, like, through the building that's blocking you and things like that. Another pass on attributes, it feels very restrictive rather than interesting or fun. And then he's done an edit at the end saying, just to add on, I know that I've listed a bunch of negative stuff, but I'm still enjoying playing the game a decent bit. I know it's early access and so on, but I can't wait for the next PoE 1 League. It's been a while. There you go. What are your thoughts and feelings down below? What class are you playing? Share some tips and tricks down below. Love you all. I made a game. It's called Battle Babes. It's on Steam. Play it if you want. Hasta la vista. Peace.